I stood in the center of that luxury boutique in my simple white dress while 5 women circled me like wolves. "Look at her," one laughed, "playing dress-up in mommy's clothes." They didn't know my husband was parking the car. They didn't know he owned the entire mall. And when he walked in, their world shattered. Before we dive into this story of revenge and justice, hit that subscribe button right now because what you're about to hear will shock you. This isn't just a story, it's a lesson about karma, cruelty, and consequences. Don't skip ahead because the twist will blow your mind. Now let me take you back to that day. My name is Mila, and I need to tell you something about myself before this story makes sense. I grew up in foster care. No family, no safety net, nothing but my own determination to survive. When I was 23, working as a receptionist at a corporate office, I met Christopher. He wasn't like the other executives who walked through those doors. He noticed me, not because of what I wore or how I looked, but because I helped a lost child find her mother in the building lobby. He saw kindness in me, and somehow that mattered to him more than anything else. Christopher came from old money, the kind of wealth that spans generations. His family built half the commercial real estate in our state, but when we met, he was quietly building his own empire, tripling his family's fortune through smart investments and development projects. We fell in love slowly, deliberately. He never flaunted his wealth around me, and I never asked for anything. When he proposed 2 years later, I said yes, because I loved the man, not the money. We've been married for 12 years now, and I still live like the girl I was before I met him. I volunteer as an art teacher for underprivileged kids. The kind of children I once was. I dress simply. I drive a regular car. I keep my wedding ring in my purse when I'm working because I don't want people to treat me differently. Very few people know I'm married to Christopher Ashford. We keep our private life private. That's how we like it. But today was different. Today was special. Christopher's mother was turning 70, and there was a gala planned at the Grand Meridian Hotel. For once, Christopher insisted I buy something elegant. "My love," he'd said that morning, "you deserve to feel beautiful. Go to La Luminaire. Get whatever makes you happy. Today, I want you to shine." So there I was, standing outside the most exclusive boutique in the city, wearing my simple white cotton dress and sandals. Christopher dropped me off at the entrance. "I'll park the car and make some calls," he said, kissing my forehead. "Take your time. Enjoy yourself." I watched him drive away, took a deep breath, and walked through those glass doors. The boutique was breathtaking. Gold fixtures gleamed under crystal chandeliers. Italian marble floors reflected the soft lighting. There was even a champagne bar in the corner where well-dressed women sipped and laughed. I felt slightly out of place, but I held my head high. I had every right to be there. I walked toward the evening gown section, my eyes immediately drawn to a stunning burgundy dress that seemed to glow under the lights. That's when I heard the first whisper. "Did you see what just walked in?" I turned slightly and saw them. 5 women, all dripping in designer labels and expensive jewelry, standing together like a pack. They were looking directly at me. The one who spoke was tall, blonde, wearing diamonds that could probably pay for a car. She had that look. You know the one. The look that says she's never been told no in her entire life. I decided to ignore them. I walked up to a staff member, a young girl who looked uncomfortable. "Excuse me," I said politely. "Could I see that burgundy gown? I'd like to try it on." Before the girl could respond, I heard a loud, exaggerated gasp behind me. "Did she just ask about the Valentino? In that dress?" The voice was sharp, mocking. I turned around to see all 5 women now facing me completely. The blonde one, who I'd later learn was named Veronica, had her hand over her mouth in mock surprise. Next to her was a younger woman with cruel eyes, wrapped in a white fur stole despite it being 70 degrees outside. That was Natasha. Then there was Sienna, an older woman with a pinched face and cold expression. Gabriella, barely in her 20s, already had her phone out. And Diane, who looked like a bitter version of Veronica, stood with her arms crossed. Natasha stepped forward, her heels clicking on the marble. "Honey," she said, her voice dripping with false sweetness, "that gown costs more than your entire wardrobe." I felt my stomach tighten, but I kept my voice steady. "I'd still like to see it, please." Gabriella giggled and whispered something to Sienna. I could see her phone camera pointed at me. She was recording. "This is going to be hilarious content," she murmured, not even trying to hide it. Sienna walked right up to me, so close I could smell her overpowering perfume. "Sweetheart, are you lost? The thrift store is 3 blocks down." Diane joined in, her voice nasal and grating. "Maybe she's here to apply for a job. They need cleaners, don't they?" The staff member looked at me with pity but said nothing. She was young, probably afraid of losing her commission from these women. I understood, but it still stung. Veronica circled me slowly, like a shark. "Let me guess," she said, tapping her chin theatrically. "Church volunteer? Librarian? Or wait, elementary school teacher?" I met her eyes. "I teach art to children." The reaction was immediate. All 5 women burst into laughter, loud and cruel. Natasha actually bent over, clutching her stomach. "Oh my God," she shrieked. "An art teacher in El Illuminaire!" Other customers were watching now. Some looked uncomfortable, but others were smiling, enjoying the show. I felt heat rising in my cheeks, but I refused to look down. I stood there, chin up, meeting each of their mocking gazes. Veronica stepped even closer, her eyes narrowing. "Tell me, do you even know what designer labels are? Can you even pronounce Valentino?" "I know enough," I said quietly. "Now, may I please see the gown?" Diane gasped dramatically. The audacity! She actually thinks she belongs here. That's when Sienna did something I'll never forget. She walked over to the rack, grabbed the burgundy gown I'd admired, and held it up against me mockingly. "See?" she said to her friends. "It's already being wasted on her. Can you even imagine?" They laughed harder. Gabriella was now openly filming, her live stream visible on her phone screen. I could see the comments flooding in. People from all over the city were watching this. Then Veronica stopped laughing. She leaned in, studying my face carefully. Her expression changed from amusement to something darker, recognition. "Wait," she said slowly. "I know you. You're that foster kid who worked at my husband's office years ago." My blood went cold. I remembered her husband, Stephen Walsh, a senior manager who'd made my life hell 12 years ago when I was just a receptionist trying to survive. He'd cornered me in the break room one day, made inappropriate advances, and when I reported him to HR, he'd lied. He told everyone, including his wife, that I had tried to seduce him for a promotion. Veronica's face twisted with vindictive pleasure. "Girls," she announced loudly, making sure everyone in the boutique could hear, "this nobody tried to seduce my husband for a promotion years ago." "That's a lie," I said, my voice shaking now. "And you know it." "He fired you because you were inappropriate," Veronica shouted. "You were a desperate little girl then, and you're still desperate now." The crowd gasped. Whispers erupted around us. I felt tears prickling at my eyes, but I blinked them back. I would not cry. Not here, not for them. Natasha's voice cut through the noise. "Security should remove her. She's probably here to steal." Diane nodded enthusiastically. "Check her bag. Girls like her always steal." That's when the manager appeared. Celeste was her name, a middle-aged woman with a severe bun and sharp features. She rushed over, took one look at me, then at the 5 women, and made her choice. "Ma'am," she said to me coldly, "I'm going to have to ask you to leave." I stood my ground. "I haven't done anything wrong." Gabriella was practically glowing with excitement. "Guys, I'm live right now," she said to her phone. "Watch this poor girl getting escorted out of La Luminaire. This is insane." I could see her screen, 500,000 followers. Comments pouring in, laughing emojis, cruel words. My humiliation was being broadcast to half the city. Veronica leaned in close, her voice low and venomous. "Someone like you will never belong in our world. You should crawl back to whatever hole you came from." Something inside me shifted. I'd been patient. I'd been kind. I'd taken their abuse with dignity. But I was done. I pulled out my phone and sent a single text message. Veronica noticed and laughed. "Oh, calling your boyfriend to rescue you? Is he going to come in on his bicycle? The other women howled with laughter. But I just smiled. For the first time since walking into that boutique, I smiled. No, I said calmly. Someone else is coming. They looked confused. Veronica frowned. Why are you smiling? Security is literally coming to throw you out. I didn't answer. I just stood there, perfectly still, my smile growing wider. 2 minutes passed, the longest, most tense 2 minutes of my life. The women shifted uncomfortably. Even Gabriella stopped filming for a moment. Then the boutique doors opened. Every single person in that store turned to look, and I watched as their faces changed, one by one, from confusion to recognition to absolute horror. Christopher walked in. My husband is not a loud man. He doesn't need to be. He's tall, impeccably dressed, and carries himself with the kind of quiet authority that comes from real power. Today, he wore a custom gray suit that probably cost more than the entire inventory of some stores, but it wasn't the suit that made people freeze. It was him. Christopher Ashford, one of the richest, most powerful men in the state. He walked straight to me, ignoring everyone else in the room. He took my hand gently and kissed it. "I'm sorry I took so long, darling," he said softly. "Have you found something for tonight?" The boutique fell into complete, absolute silence. I watched Celeste's face drain of all color. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. Mr. Ashford," she stammered. "We didn't know. We had no idea." Christopher didn't even look at her. His eyes were on me, searching my face. "Are you all right?" he asked. I could have said yes. I could have let it go, but I didn't. "These women have been entertaining," I said. Christopher's jaw tightened. It was the only sign of his anger, but I knew him. I knew that tiny muscle movement meant he was furious. He turned slowly to face Veronica. "I believe you know my wife?" Veronica was shaking, actually physically shaking. I didn't. She never said. "She shouldn't have to," Christopher said quietly. His voice was calm, controlled, and somehow that made it more terrifying. "Respect isn't earned by wealth, it's basic humanity." He looked at each woman in turn. Natasha had dropped her phone. Sienna had gone pale. Gabriella's livestream was exploding with comments, but she wasn't looking at it anymore. Diane seemed frozen in place. "But you five," Christopher continued, "you're something special, aren't you?" He pulled out his phone. Celeste stepped forward desperately. "Mr. Ashford, please, if I had known—" "Who is your regional director?" Christopher asked. "Mr. Harrison, sir, but—" "Call him. Tell him he's fired." Christopher's voice was ice. "You're demoted to the stockroom, effective immediately." Celeste's face crumpled. She started to cry, but Christopher had already turned back to the 5 women. "Now," he said, "let's talk about you 5. What happened next was the most satisfying moment of my entire life. Christopher looked at Veronica first. "Your husband works for Ashford Properties, doesn't he?" Veronica's eyes went wide with panic. "Please don't." Christopher made a call right there, on speaker. "Gary, it's Christopher. Terminate Stephen Walsh. Yes, right now. Effective immediately." Veronica literally collapsed onto a nearby chair. "No, we have mortgages, school fees, you can't—" "I just did," Christopher said. Then he turned to me. "Your husband harassed my wife 12 years ago. He lied about it. He got her fired. And you believed him." He looked back at Veronica. "But here's something you didn't know. He was already under investigation for embezzlement. I just accelerated the process. You'll want to call a good lawyer." Veronica was sobbing now, mascara running down her face. Christopher moved to Natasha next. "Natasha Chen, your husband's surgical practice rents space in my medical plaza, doesn't it?" Natasha couldn't speak. She just nodded, tears already forming. "Lease termination notice will be sent today. 30 days to vacate." "You can't do this," Natasha screamed. "I just did." Sienna was next. "Sienna Hartford, living off your grandmother's trust fund. Interesting fact, I'm on the board of Hartford Trust." Sienna's arrogance shattered instantly. What does that mean?" "It means your quarterly allowance just became conditional on community service." We'll be in touch. Gabriella was still holding her phone, the live stream still going. Christopher looked directly at the camera. To everyone watching, you just witnessed defamation, harassment, and attempted theft of reputation. My lawyers will be filing suit against Gabriella Morrison by end of business today. Gabriella dropped the phone like it burned her. I'll delete it. I'll delete everything. Please. Screenshots exist, Christopher said calmly. See you in court. Finally, Diane. Diane Walsh, Veronica's sister-in-law, your charity fundraiser next month at the Grand Hotel? Diane nodded weakly, knowing what was coming. I own that hotel. Event cancelled. That's my reputation, my entire social standing, Diane cried. You should have been kinder, Christopher said simply. All 5 women were crying now. Some were on their knees. Gabriella was hyperventilating. The entire boutique watched in stunned silence. Then I spoke. My voice was quiet, but everyone heard me. Veronica, you said I tried to seduce your husband 12 years ago. She looked up at me, mascara streaked and broken. I was told your husband harassed me. He cornered me. He touched me inappropriately. I reported him, and he lied to save himself. I paused, and you believed him without question because it was easier than facing the truth about who you married. Christopher stepped beside me. I was the CEO who personally reviewed Mila's case. I saw the security footage. I read the witness statements. Your husband was guilty. I fired him. And that's how Mila and I met. The revelation hit Veronica like a physical blow. Her entire marriage, 12 years of her life, had been built on her husband's lie. She let out a sound that was half sob, half wail. Christopher turned to me. What would you like to do, my love? The 5 women looked at me with desperate, pleading eyes. They were on their knees now, literally begging. These women who had circled me like wolves just 20 minutes ago were now broken, terrified, destroyed. I looked at each of them for a long moment. The power had shifted so completely that it was almost dizzying. I could ruin them. Christopher had given me that power. One word from me and their lives would never be the same, but I'm not cruel like them. I'm not. I want them to learn, I said finally. Really learn. Christopher waited, his hand supportive on my back. Each of you will volunteer 200 hours at youth shelters, I said. You'll post public apologies on your social media. You'll make donations to foster care charities. If you refuse, everything my husband just said stands. You have 48 hours to start. Gabriella was the first to speak, her voice desperate. We'll do it. Anything, please. I'll be watching, I said. And if I hear that you've treated anyone else the way you treated me today, there will be no second chances. They nodded frantically, all 5 of them, broken and humbled. Christopher looked at the burgundy gown still hanging on the rack. We'll take that one, he said to the terrified staff member, and that one, and that one. He pointed to 5 of the most expensive dresses in the store. Actually, let's make it an even $50,000 worth. The staff scrambled to gather the items. Donate them all, Christopher said. To Mila's Art Foundation, for the girls who need them. Then he took my hand, and we walked toward the door. The entire boutique parted for us like the Red Sea. No one spoke. No one moved. They just watched us leave with our dignity intact, while 5 women remained on the floor, destroyed by their own cruelty. As we stepped outside into the sunshine, Christopher pulled me close. I'm sorry you had to go through that, he said. I shook my head. Don't be. They needed to learn. And now they have. In the weeks that followed, the story spread across the city like wildfire. Gabriella's livestream had been screen-recorded by thousands before she could delete it. The internet was ruthless. The 5 women became cautionary tales. Some of them completed their community service and genuinely changed. Others just learned to hide their cruelty better. Veronica divorced her husband, who was indeed convicted of embezzlement. Their world had shifted, and it would never shift back. That day taught me something important. Cruelty always has consequences. Those women thought they were untouchable. They thought wealth gave them the right to destroy others. They were wrong. I could have revealed who I was immediately, but I wanted them to show their true faces. And they did. My husband didn't save me that day I didn't need saving. He simply held people accountable for their actions. That's not revenge. That's justice. If you've ever been judged, humiliated, or made to feel less than, remember this. Your worth isn't determined by others' opinions. Stay strong, stay dignified, and know that karma is always watching.